You are now listening to the greatest show in the universe.
Hey man, this is Tommy Chong, and right now you're listening to the Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey, this is Jordan Belfort, the real Wolf of Wall Street, and you're listening to the Anthony Rogers Show.
The Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Sean Danielson from Smile Empty Soul, and you are listening to the Anthony Rogers Show.
The Anthony Rogers Show.
Brian Vander from the Verb Pipe here, and you're listening to the Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey, this is James Jude Courtney, Michael Myers, a.k.a. The Shape, in Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and the soon-to-be-released Halloween Ends. And this is the Anthony Rogers Show.
I am Dave Holmes from MTV and Esquire Magazine, and you are listening to the Anthony Rogers Show.
What's up, everybody? WWE Hall of Famer, the Godfather, and cannabis expert, and connoisseur, and you're watching the Anthony Rogers Show. Peace.
Luxurious Bastard Beard Co. is the best in beard care products. Grow a beard, be a man, and use Luxurious Bastard Beard Co. Use promo code LEGENDARY to get a discount. And get your Christmas shopping done early. Luxurious Bastard Beard Co. Link in description. Hemper offers a premium monthly smoking subscription box for all of your smoking essentials. Avoid trips to head shops and gain access to limited edition bongs and smoking goodies. Discover limited edition glass and innovative accessories. 3 million boxes shipped. Get this month's box $39.99 for over $100 in smoking gear.
Wild protein chips. Comfort food you can count on. Chips made from chicken breast, egg whites, and bone broth. High-protein chips crafted from real ingredients: chicken breast, egg whites, and bone broth. No nuts. No gluten. No grain. No dairy. No potatoes. Use promo code LEGENDARY and try them for yourself. Hello everyone from around the world. I want to tell you Chom dipping sauce is so good and is so spicy. It makes every day a good day. Right now you can use the link in description or promo code Anthony Rogers, one word, to get a discount and try the fresh and best dipping sauce, Chom dipping sauce.
Welcome back to the greatest show in the universe. Today we have a huge show. We have an author, TV star for several things. I mean, I guess people are multifaceted. We have another multifaceted entrepreneur and entertainer, Vincent Vargas. How you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, you've done a lot of stuff. It's weird to introduce people that have done a lot of things, because like usually it's like oh, this is like a school bus driver. It's like all he ever did was like drive a school bus, but like, you know what I mean, or something. But like, yeah, you have a book that just dropped right now, right?
Yeah, I got a book right now. It's out.
Right, yeah, Borderline. How? And that was your experience as like you were. What exactly was your job like there?
Yeah, I was a Border Patrol agent from 2009 to 2015, and for 2 years of that was just a regular Border Patrol agent. But the rest of my time was spent as a special operations medic for the Border Patrol. Most probably wouldn't know that the Border Patrol has special operations teams, and I spent most of my time doing search, trauma, and rescue missions, as well as attached to a BORTAC team, which is like our SWAT, doing high risk warrants and many other little things.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. So what is that like? So I mean, did you like what was the border situation then, I guess then?
It wasn't as crazy as it is now, in the sense of, currently we have like a massive influx of illegal immigration. Back then it was probably a little bit more drug trafficking that we were trying to stop. At any moment, the career can get dangerous, and at other times it's like a humanitarian mission. So it's kind of why I wrote the book. I think it's just super complex career field that most people don't really understand. And I think what most people know about the Border Patrol is what they've taken from, the media or whatever the case.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. Yeah, I mean, I know loosely what TV tells me, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I've never done that job. I know nothing about it, man.
Where do you live?
I'm out of St. Louis, like
okay. Yeah, you're so far removed from the border. I'm in Texas. I'm currently in Dallas, Texas.
Okay, yeah. I know there's a lot of I mean, I definitely know. I agree with your problem now. I mean, all those just letting in fighting age men for some reason, like it's like through the border mostly. That's what it seems like now. It seems like some weird like globalist takeover kind of thing happening.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of takes on that. It's a very strange time to see that the administration's really not, I don't know, not really putting on any kind of restraints on what's going on currently. And so we're in a very strange time right now in our society, and still, the media makes it look like the Border Patrol just has an open border, and that's completely false.
What is the border? I definitely agree that is the story. What exactly is happening? Like,
well, a lot of people say it looks like we have an open border, and but the truth is, we don't have an open border. We have the Border Patrol doing its job by apprehending every individual that comes across illegally, or as many as they can, right? Because it's still a cat and mouse game. But the problem that happens is after apprehension, after the apprehension of an illegal immigrant, they get processed through the system, and then they get determined to be, whatever the case is. And so they say what their case is. Most of them say that's some kind of, humanitarian case, like seeking asylum. And if they're claiming asylum, currently the process is that we can't make the determination of that. The Border Patrol is we don't do investigative, skills. And so what we do is process them for that. And then they get handed off to ICE, which is, the next kind of immigration process for holding. And since there is no situation currently that is established for humanitarian holding, they just release them currently into our society until they have a notice to appear, which is like to see an immigration judge at a later date. And currently that date is so overwhelmed, it's coming from 5 years to 10 years. And the statistics have proven recently that only 3% ever come back to see an immigration judge.
that's crazy. That was a lot of crazy information. Like, that's it's like that's wild. So what got you into this kind of work originally? Like, what kind of motivated you to get to do that, I guess?
I was in the military as a special operations kind of dude, and spent the better part of my career going overseas. Went to Iraq once and Afghanistan twice, and so after spending time overseas, you kind of want to figure out how you can do the same thing at home. And once I found out that the Border Patrol has a special operations unit, and we could potentially be protecting our country from potential terrorist threats, that became like, oh, okay, that sounds like the next thing for me. I can do kind of the similar thing I'm doing overseas, but now doing it in our own country. I didn't know much about the Border Patrol. I knew enough from a friend who was kind of telling me a little bit here and there. And as I got out, and I applied for it, went through the process and got into the career field, I started to really see, the layers pulled back of how complex this career field is, and how many layers to being a Border Patrol, but not even that, our immigration system as a country. And so, I was just inspired to kind of continue to do the same thing I did overseas here in our own country.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Like, it's some hero stuff, man. So you've done it all, man. You did military, I guess, like author, Border Patrol, TV shows, man. Like, what's up with that? Like, how'd you get into acting? I guess from military, just like how'd that segue?
Yeah, it's kind of odd. I started doing YouTube skits with some buddies, and the YouTube skits got really viral. And then from that, we kind of decided, let's produce a movie. We thought we were going to be the next Broken Lizard, make a bunch of funny films, but we produced one film, and that was a hell of a challenge. But after doing that one film, I kind of felt like I got the Hollywood bug. I wanted to just get deeper into acting and potentially writing in Hollywood. And so I just kind of pivoted in my life towards that, and got lucky enough to land a big audition and land the show Mayans MC.
Yeah, it's awesome. My buddy was telling me that was a huge show. That's great. Like, my buddy was talking about that earlier. That's crazy. What's that like being on a TV show? Yeah, is there like an audition process for that? Or like more of like who you know, or like what kind of situation is that?
No, it's definitely an audition system, but I think they were looking for something, and I think it was just showed up at the right place, right time, right look. And when I went to audition, I guess I looked the part as much as anything else, being tattooed and everything. And yeah, man, I got lucky. I don't know. It's like a Cinderella story. It was a lottery ticket. I just got lucky and made it happen.
That's very it's a very honest and humble answer, man. I think it is a lot of hard work and luck that does come with that. You know, I mean, you had to, I guess, apply for it originally, but I mean, yeah, it's up to someone else's choice too. I mean, I could see both of that. You know, it's like, was that something you always wanted to do, or you kind of just fell into more so, just from like kind of like skits and stuff? Like,
Yeah, I've always enjoyed I enjoyed watching people do it first, and I didn't have the guts to do it. And eventually I got to college, I did some theater, and that's where I kind of knew, like, man, this is kind of cool. But, I was playing college baseball, and then I ended up having to join the military, and I had to join the military more so I lost a full ride scholarship. And so I kind of had to pivot my life a little bit. The war was happening, and I had a daughter, and so I chose the military. And so I kind of put that little pipe dream behind me until, like I said, by chance got pulled into YouTube, and then from YouTube got inspired to kind of do more, and it's kind of kept going. And now currently, I left that show as a writer of the show as well. So that's kind of like the direction I'm hopefully moving more towards, is writing and then a little bit of acting still.
Well, yeah, I'd say you're a writer if you wrote a book and it's on like the best-selling list. I mean, I'd say you're a writer too, man. Already I'd say it's doing well. Your plan's doing well, is what I'm saying. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, no problem, man. That's crazy. I love seeing the American dream, and I love seeing people like putting the work and stuff, man. I like that. I love that aspect, man. It seems like you just got a lot of stuff going on, man. What was your scholarship for for college originally?
Oh, baseball. I was a pitcher and an outfielder, and so I was playing in the summer. I was playing up in Chico State, and had a good summer season. And I got a call from a coach that said, "Hey, we want to give you a full ride." And I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah, let's go!" So I head out to Kentucky, and it didn't take much than a year for me to lose my scholarship because of my academics. I failed out of college, man.
Well, that's got to be hard. I mean, playing games full time, like working out, all that stuff, plus studying on top of that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I was also a big drinker, so I didn't help myself, dude. I blame myself. It's hard to get drunk, probably. Yeah, I know it's I think it's hard sober, but definitely harder drunk. Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, that's a lot, though. I mean, and it seems like you keep putting yourself back in the game, though. You didn't let it define your, like, a lot of these guys, you'll just hear, like, they'll mess up like one time, like, man, I could have done something, and then, like, it's just like, when you're back in the ring doing, like, just kind of do other things. That's cool, man. Ambition got you there.
Trying to keep it going.
What's on the books for your? Like, what are some goals like you think like you'll be accomplishing next year, like after that and stuff? Like, as far, I mean, you seem like an ambitious person.
Yeah, I think I kind of found my niche in this space. I'm gonna hopefully, I'm working on trying to get on a couple of shows as a writer, but as well as I'm pitching a couple of shows of mine as well. And so it's just the Hollywood hustle, man. You go out there, you audition for roles and get some acting, and you get some opportunities in writing. And I'm kind of a creative, so I write my own stuff as well. I have another book I'm working on currently, and I do a lot of stuff on the board. I do a lot of consulting, and so it's something that's near and dear to my heart, and trying to kind of, stay a part of the service and help in some capacity. And so I do that. Outside of that, we have a nonprofit, and we have a company called Light Diffused Wellness. And so we focus a lot on men's mental health. And so we're just really sitting here finding ways to grow that business and continue to help men find, comfort in their own skin, really, So that's kind of the angle that I've kind of pivoted my life to, is providing service to others. And in the same time in Hollywood, it's creating a message that hopefully is profound for people, and then people can be inspired or entertained.
That's awesome. That sounds like really true to yourself, man. I like hearing like that energy, man. So were you pro wall, or like what's your standpoint as a border guy? Like,
yeah, as a border patrol agent, I think we all are pro wall, and
I was hoping so. You never know these days. I was hoping so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny because the wall sounds like a thing, but the wall is just one part of a very robust, homeland security kind of system. When you have the wall, that's nothing more than just kind of a funnel to help, manage traffic in areas that are very austere and difficult to work as a border patrol agent. So it proves itself to be almost like a force multiplier. It helps us with the challenging terrain that we have to work. It helps us kind of manage the traffic. There's always going to be someone who tries to find a way to get through it, over it, or under it. But that's few and far in between. And it actually slows down the traffic and gives us an opportunity to kind of do our job. But, you know, when people say the wall, they were so offended by it. But that wall's been there since the Obama administration, and all they were doing is adding to that wall in other areas that we could prove to be, you know, difficult to work. And so I think the wall kind of got taken out of context and turned into a, you know, political argument that kind of represented more than what it is. If you have no idea about the border, you know, people who live on the border were sitting there themselves saying, we already have a wall, you know, and so it was really something that's taken out of context, turned into an argument, and made us to kind of divide our views. And I think it was kind of silly. And when you actually understand the border, it really isn't that big of a deal that people made it. So it was kind of funny.
I agree 10,000%. That was the most articulate way I've ever heard it said. No, that was really well put, man. It's true. I mean, like no, it's crazy, man. Like, you think Mexico should have paid for it too? I'm with that too. I think Mexico should have. That's pretty cool. Built it, you know.
That's a funny one. No, I mean, look, man, if we want our own security, then we have to do our own thing.
Fair. That's not the answer. That's fair, man. No, you seem real, man. I like that. So, what's some crazy stuff you've seen? Like I'm sure you like have dealt with a lot of stuff. Like, what's some crazy stuff you've seen? Just like people being like some kind of smuggling or like, any kind of thing like that. Like, what's some wild stuff you've seen? Like
yeah, that's. I mean, look, human smuggling and drug smuggling. Yeah. Read the book. No, human smuggling and you know, and drug trafficking happens daily. You know, it just depends if you see it or you don't. You know, it's not uncommon for us to apprehend kids who are smuggling dope. When I say kids, you know, there's 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds transporting dope. And that might come as a surprise to some people. For us, it's kind of common. As well as, you know, how many people die attempting to try and cross the river, as well as, you know, attempting to enter into America and find themselves on ranches with the austere conditions and the weathers. We lose a lot of illegal migrants trying to make the attempt to come across. And so it's a career field that is filled with a lot of humanitarian mission. It's filled with the option of we really do try and safeguard human life as much as possible because of how dangerous it is for people to cross. A lot of illegal migrants do not know how to swim, but they're manipulated by trafficking organizations to cross. And, you know, that becomes a very unfortunate game that they play. They're pawns in this game of chess that the smuggling organizations are making money off of. And we, on the other hand, try to do our best to safeguard as many lives as possible. But it's a challenging career field, man, where you know, death is common, and you know, they see it often in a 30-year career. It's a hard living.
Yeah, I think that's why they tried to shut down the wall thing originally, is because like of all the trafficking of drugs and human beings and stuff. I think those people in on it like try to like you said, like what politicize it or whatever, like make like issues, be like, well, if you like protecting your family, you must, or you know, I mean, like it's a bad thing. It's just like weird. It seems like the guy selling the drugs kind of wanted the wall to not be as focused on as Trump was, I guess, you know.
Yeah, it's a really weird situation that happens currently. Even through every administration, there's something that happens on the border, a conversation. I think every president says they want to fix it, and they make a couple bold choices, and that's it. But you know, the immigration, you know, policies that are put in place and the process is very complex. You know, I like to tell people there's no 1+1 answer that'll fix this whole thing. It's actually more of like a 7-layer cake, and the recipe for that cake, if you give a little too much or a little not enough of one recipe, you can damage the whole thing. And I think currently we have a kind of a damaged immigration system that has been years and years of needing overhaul. And we're going to continue to see these issues if we don't really take a good look at the whole complex issue and make some answers, you know?
I think we should kick everybody out, Americans too, you know, just kick everybody out. Let's start over.
Start over. Yeah, I like that. Start over.
Like maybe this time we get a president that can like walk and form sentences and stuff. It'll be cool, you know. We'll try it. We'll try it differently, man. Like, you know. But no, I think like I actually respect a lot of what you do. To be honest, jokes aside, I think that's a very serious job. I think that like and I appreciate that. I mean, I think like our security depends on it, like 100%. You know, I mean, the Nazis tried to come in through Mexico, man. You know, like in the 40s. You know, it's like you definitely got to watch these borders. I mean, like especially in times like now, we have like a fool for a president, and all the other leaders are salivating. You know.
Yeah, we definitely have some vulnerabilities that are currently we're showing our panties, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they have to be just like, they're like, this is my moment, you know, like finally I could do this. But I mean, the bad news for them is they have to deal with the American public still, you know. And I think we're way smarter than our institutions, and I think there's a lot of guys like you and like myself and other things that I mean, I don't think this country's going anywhere, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I think the patriotism in our country is still strong, and the founding ideologies, you know, are still heavily believed in, whether we have a voice or not. I think there's a lot of us who still believe in the land of opportunity, you know, and you know, if you go speak out to and interview people, I think, you know, immigrants who came here legally, they feel the same. You know, I sat there at a bar recently. I don't drink, I'm sober, but I sit at a bar often when I'm flying, and I drink my virgin freaking, what are they called? I don't know, the spicy ass tomato drink, whatever the fuck that thing is called. But you know, I talked to the bartender, and he's a migrant. He was illegally admitted into this country through the system, and he voiced his own opinion on saying, man, I really love this country. It's given me everything. And you know, it's funny that a lot of people probably don't even see that most, you know, the immigrant mentality is actually a thing where people talk about, like, the immigrant mentality, which the immigrant mentality when my parents' era, my grandparents' era, was come to America and reap the benefits of the opportunities of how hard you work, you earn. And that is still alive and kicking. That's still a thing. You know, I'm a third generation Mexican, and you know, look at me, I'm writing television shows in Hollywood. It's some of the biggest influences of our time, and being able to construct the messaging that I feel is valuable for our nation. And that's a lot of power. That's a lot of opportunity. That's a lot of, you know, my mother used to pick cotton. Right. My mother used to pick cotton. Right. And so to say my mother started there and here's where I am now, it just goes to show you that this is still the land of opportunity if you choose to use that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I'm probably fourth generation American, or third or fourth or something. I think fourth. And yeah, you're right. A couple generations ago, people picked cotton here too. I mean, poor Southerners did. I mean, I'm not trying to make a slavery joke, you know, but I'm just saying, like, just poor Southerners. Like, I mean, every race did. Everyone does it, you know. And at one point, I mean, everybody went from the farm to the cities to the suburbs. I mean, and this is the All-Star team. I mean, like the best of everyone come here. I mean, you're saying these people are willing to drown to be here. You know, I'm like, there's not a line for that anywhere else in the world. Like, you know, there's not a line like that anywhere else.
That's exactly it. You know, that's exactly it. Like, people are willing to die for this, and you know, their belief and willingness to die for this opportunity. You know, I think there's people who live in America that don't even have their own gratitude toward what they have and the lottery ticket that they won by being born here, you know. And so, you know, when I talk about immigration, when I talk about the Border Patrol, you know, I come from a position of empathy. I understand, you know, what the challenges that they face in some of these countries, and I understand, you know, the efforts that people make and the willingness to sacrifice their own life and just making the effort of coming to America. And so I don't really joke on it too much in the fact that it's a very complex situation. And when you're talking about immigration, you have to also talk about Homeland Security at the same conversation, or else you're doing it a disservice, because we have to be a country that allows immigration. That's what we're all built on. But as well as that's legal immigration and the legal process. On top of that, we have to also make sure that we're providing security for our people in our nation. And so the conversation, as much as it's left and right, it's actually more in the middle. The answer is we have to have both of those, and we have to find a way that they simultaneously are pleased. And that means that our legal immigration system has to have an overhaul that makes it a more streamlined possibility for those who really need it. On top of that, the illegal immigration side has to have repercussions for those who break the law. And so that's the situation that we're dealing with.
No, very well said. Yeah, no, I'm pro legal immigration for sure. I mean, we all started there. I mean, I didn't, but my grandfather did. You know, like somebody did to be here, man. I think that was very well said and thought out and stuff. And like when you said you don't joke about it, I couldn't help but like think in my head, like when you said this, like if I was Mexican, like walking across the border, I'd be like, come on, bro. You know, it's like, do you have like Mexicans be like, dude, come
all
on.
The time. Dude. Yeah, dude, they'll read your name tag and be Vargas, ¿qué pasó, güey? You know, and you're like, bro, you know, and that's, you know, just trying to articulate that conversation alone is extremely challenging. I touched on it in the book and trying to explain that, like I grew up in Los Angeles, California, and look, man, I know my color, my skin color. I'm brown, dude. And in some of my friend groups, I'm the beaner, and in some of my other friend groups, I'm the coconut, right? My friend groups who are Mexican, who speak Spanish, I don't speak Spanish very well, so I'm the coconut, right? Which means I'm brown on the outside but white on the inside, and then yeah, and then my other group of friends who are just baseball players, and most of them are white or black or Asian. They look at me and be like, "You're a beaner," and I'm like, "Holy shit, man!" I'm like, "I'm not good enough for one group. I'm not good enough for this group. I'm always something to other groups," and it's this really. It's growing up in LA. I'm part of this, this melting pot, and I wasn't raised knowing race. There wasn't a thing in my head. It wasn't a thing my parents taught. And we also were never born believing that, there was this figment of our imagination that was holding us down or slowing down our progress. Right. I was just very blessed to have parents who believed in just work your ass off and earn everything you want. And so as you get older, and now our society seems like everything is built off race and everything has a racial undertone. And I still personally don't even acknowledge that. I think like, oh, that's just people thinking, that's perspective. And that's the wrong perspective. And so it's a really interesting time, when me being a board agent, my last name is Vargas, and people don't understand it, but like, well, I do understand that, because I'm an American and I served our country and I want to protect this nation. But I also understand immigration, and I understand how complex and I have empathy for it. But you want people to have empathy for that who is working this job. You want people to actually care about the situation. And if you don't, then we're just robots, right? And with no soul. And that's not true either. But that's what the world wants to perceive us as. And that's unfair.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, man. And I like how you touched on that, like, because I'm Irish. We came from like a potato famine to like America. It's like I think like no matter what you do, you could build your own life here, and I think that's very important. And it's like if you think race is holding you back, you're right. And if you don't think it is, you're right. No matter what, you're going to limit yourself or not.
I say that that's exactly a quote. I've been writing a lot about that. It's like if you think you're oppressed, well, then you are, right? It's a state of perspective, and if that's how you feel, then so be it. But I just refuse to give my kids that same ideology. I refuse to do that to myself.
Yeah, to me, it's like everyone's just arguing over crayon colors. I'm trying to get rich. I'm like, I don't even care. They're like, well, this color, this color. I'm like, I'm just trying to get rich, man. I don't even give a fuck about any of that, man. Like, to be honest, like.
It's true, man. It's true. The fact is we're all human and we all have opportunity, and we choose to either use it or be victims to it.
Yeah, that's true. That's like if I just complain about being called fat in like middle school. I'm like, man, ever since I got called fat in middle school, I really can't do anything. I can't have a job, can't contribute to society. It's like I'm just not as good as everybody else. It's just what a dumb thing to think, man. It's like what a.
I joke with my kids, and now they're gonna blame me for everything. Like, oh yeah, you're just gonna blame dad for everything. I'm sure. It's like, oh, I can't get a job. My dad did this. It's like all these. I hate my dads. I give them all shit because like that's what you see the society doing today. This society wants to point fingers at someone and never want to take their own accountability. They don't want to self accountability, right? They don't want to do that. They want to point the finger and blame someone for their reasons.
Every single time. Every single time. Like it's not even like it's not even like a half thing. It's like a 90% thing. Like it's pretty bad. I'll call people out all the time, and like it's always my fault that they did something. Like every time it's like I'm like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Like when you were like making mistakes, it was my fault. Yeah, no, I forgot. Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense. Like I think you have to like reflect on your own mistakes too all the time. You can't just be like,
dude, all day. I think that's the only way we grow is by, my son, he was just at a wrestling tournament. He lost both matches. And I was like, on the drive home, I'm like, what happened? He goes, I don't know. I said, were they better than you or did you beat yourself? He goes, I don't know. I was like, well, the first thing we have to do is identify that. Because if you can't figure out where you made a mistake, well, then there is no room for improvement, and we need to improve, obviously. And so that's kind of how we do it in this house is like, dude, you got to be flat honest. You got to be a very, harsh critique on yourself and say, hey, this is where I'm wrong, and this is how I fix it. If you can't identify where you're wrong, well, then you're never going to try and fix it.
No, I agree. And I think my criticism is harshest on myself. And I think like I feel like I'm like G-rated to everybody else. They can't handle it. I'm so comparatively speaking, it's like, and I don't have kids or anything like that, but I definitely respect that like kind of conversation. I think that was probably a tough time losing matches. And I think like the way you brought that up is good. It's true. You lost, you have to figure out how to win. That's like same with chess or anything else. It's like I play like mass chess games on my phone. Like just if I get beat by some kid in like Argentina, I'm pissed. I'm like, how did this happen, Argentina? I'll let you beat me. It's like you get amped up.
That's exactly it, man.
I'm like, how do I beat this kid next time? How do I beat this 11-year-old kid at chess next time? Or whoever beat me. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like, you know. But like, I like that aspect, and I think America's an amazing thing, and people are just like afraid to say it, and they don't understand it either because they have no like comparability. They don't like, you know what I mean? Like survival's a water faucet because my grandparents' generation was really smart, you know. Like basically, like we're living off the fat of like the World War II generation, basically still, you know.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. It's a crazy time we're living in. I think I think back in the day when we were cavemen, we had to find a way to survive. So you couldn't complain if you had an ingrown toe. You couldn't complain if you couldn't complain about the weather. You had a bad hair day. Back then, you're just trying to survive. I think now we have it so easy that everyone's looking for some reason to complain.
Yeah, they're like creating problems. Their life doesn't have real problems. There's no. It's like that Fight Club thing. There's no great war. There's no great struggle. There's no like. It's like, I mean, it's coming.
I just said this yesterday. I do our men's group when we talk, and I said that yesterday. I was like, dude, we're living in currently our society's living through a Fight Club. It's like there's no major war that some of these kids are ever dealing with or ever have to, but it's coming, man.
Oh no, I know. I can't wait to beat China in the Third World War. I can't wait to win a third world, get that championship belt for the third time. It's kind of bad because Germany's gonna be on our side this time, though. So I don't know if that's good or bad. They're not too good at world wars, So we got to worry about these allies we got.
Yeah, we haven't been too good at winning a few wars either, dude. The last few we've gotten spanked. It's kind of weird, Iraq and Afghanistan is as much as all of us who served and we're proud of our service. When you sit back and watch the way we pulled out was like, damn, that don't feel good. You know what I'm saying? And Vietnam didn't feel good either. So it's this weird time. Like we gotta figure this out, man. It's a very strange time we're living in, man.
Yeah, like Biden pulling out of Afghanistan, man, was like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I mean, being in war is always kind of foolish to me, but it has to happen. I get it. I get that. Like, there's a lot going on in the world that I don't understand, and like, it's like Men in Black. It's like when Will Smith's like first days, like, it's like, oh, they're trying to end the world and all stuff. It's like that happens every day. Like, I mean, it's like that's like the concept of America. We're top dog, and everybody's mad about it. It's like we don't believe their reformation.
We have an incredible fighting force. Our military is incredible. They're incredible what they do. And, it's not our military who's at fault for anything when it comes down to who makes the decisions in that chair. You know what I'm saying? And all we are is, we're just pawns in that little game. But when you put the men to do work, man, we do work. And that's something that I'm super proud of our American military, and especially our special operations communities.
Oh yeah, no military's even close. I mean, China can print as many like things as they want with their cowards, comparatively speaking. I mean, it is, not to be rude, but just like, I look at it and like, you guys are, they have a population. That's all they're relying on. But I mean, America is innovative. I mean, we have the best of everyone, man. If you were the best Chinese scientist, you're now American. It just doesn't even make sense that they're trying. It's like we have the all-star team. It's like, and like people forget
we've been at war for 2 decades, bro. You know what I mean? All you do is learn from that. Every time you're at war, you learn from it, from the bad things, from the good things. You learn how to get better standard operating procedures, and you just become better. It's a sharper tool.
Yeah, we've been at war for a long time. I think I've been at war for centuries almost. It's like, we're just that big brother that like borrows money and beats your ass. It's like that's basically what we are. And it's like, I don't know, that's the way we're on the world. And like, but people don't act like it. Everyone's like terrified to be like strong and amazing and stuff. It's like they just want to complain all day. They're like, oh. They're like, it's capitalism's fault. I'm a loser. I'm just like, I'm like, that's not. No, it's probably your fault. You're a loser. It's like, and then communism. These people think communism's good. They'd starve the fastest. It just makes no sense. They're like, oh, communism's good. I'm like, for 5 guys that aren't you, communism's good. It's just like those guys are first in the camp. The guys are like, I'm communist. I'm like, well, you're gonna be in the camp first, stupid. It's like Jesus.
The craziest thing is watching this generation reading, Osama bin Laden's, journal, and they're all sympathizing for him. I was like, this is the times we live in, bro. Did you see that?
That was that TikTok trend. Yeah, no, it's nuts. It's like, man, they're just laughing all the way to the fucking bank with us, man. It's nuts. I mean, the internet raised these kids, man. They had no parents. Like 70% of fatherless households. I mean, there's no. I was watching the ads earlier. Like every ad had a family back in the day. Now it's just it's just no emphasis on the family, no emphasis on country. They're like everyone's godless. It's just like it went downhill without values fast. And if you asked me in the 2000s, I thought our values were too strong. As a kid, I'm like trying to rebel against it. As an adult, I'm like, let's return to values. It's like,
yeah, that's exactly it, man. It's an interesting time. I mean, raising kids is an interesting time because me being someone who believes in God, family, and country, I'm the toxic masculinity, I'm the stable for toxic masculinity to some people, man. And it's just crazy. It's a crazy time. And I just wish, like, the hard part is, like, social media is such an open platform and gives everyone some kind of stage to stand on and some kind of voice that they feel that they have any kind of validity to even use it.
Yeah, we gave the power to the fat white girls with purple hair. We gave all the power to them, man. Like they hold all the power. They know what they're the last word of racism. They're the last word of everything. Like, they know it's racist. They know everything. They know everything. And like you better not fuck up, or you're gonna not have a job because they care so much about people.
It's an interesting time, man. It's an interesting time.
It makes no sense. Like, well, I disagreed with something so interesting. You have to starve in the street. You can't have a job anymore. It's like, what, you're gonna financially destroy somebody you disagree with? Like,
dude, we used to make those YouTube videos, and we made a video about post-traumatic stress. And what happened is a girl came home with some balloons, and the balloons popped, and we all jumped off the couch. We all pulled our guns, and we were all screaming and stuff like that, right? And we thought it was hilarious because we were all veterans who struggle with post-traumatic stress. So, like, why can't we make fun of ourselves? And that video got so much hate from people that would be like, I have a friend who's married to someone who has post-traumatic stress. Like, you can't third party this argument, lady. We have post-traumatic stress. Like, allow us to make fun of ourselves and create content that was relatable to other veterans who have post-traumatic stress. That was the reason why we did it. But people were shitting all over us for their third-party argument of, like, I know someone has post-traumatic stress. This isn't funny. And we had to come back and be like, yeah, well, that's us. And so we think it's fucking funny as hell. And it's just this really interesting time that everyone wants to have a voice and everybody wants to feel so convicted in their beliefs. But in all honesty, that's what's causing so much turmoil. That's what's causing so much division, that everyone wants to argue and everyone wants to banter and everyone wants to have an opinion. And it's becoming, the biggest problem that we have.
No, it is. It's destroying our entire nation. It's like just a bunch of weak people arguing and complaining about, like, stuff that's not even cool. And it's just I remember, like, those kids, like, in school, they'd be like, I don't like this. It's like, shut up. It's like, I don't care what you like. It's like, we're almost going to have to come back there. The pendulum swings back hard on these people. And I feel bad for them, really, because, like, they ruin our society, and it's got to go.
We just got to learn how to keep scrolling and block. You know what I mean? Scroll and block, scroll and block.
They're doing it for their family now is the problem. Like, they're blocking their grandma from a fucking meme, and not talking to, like, the people, the reason they're on Earth. It's like they say no values are taught, man. They took God out of society mostly. I think, man. I think that's the biggest problem. Is like taking God out of society, and these people have no like comprehension of the gospel, or no comprehension of, like, Jesus Christ or God or anything like that, and they live like that. They live like they're godless.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, from my own personal belief, I'm a man of God, and we're gonna continue to raise our kids in believing that as well, and guide them and show them why. Because I think the society without God seems to be a little lost at times. There's no moral kind of. It seems to be. I'll just say, yeah, I find that to be. You see, there's a lot of people who feel lost, and I think even, like, I work with a lot of men. And I work with a lot of men who are feeling struggling. And I think one of the first things you realize is a lot of these guys who are struggling, they lose their faith, right? Whether it was, it's like faith trauma, like they grew up and they felt like they hated their church or whatever. But eventually when you kind of get to ground someone a little bit, and they see that they need some kind of spiritual guidance, I think it's part of all of us is, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, and professional. But that spiritual sense, I think it's a form of grounding. I think it's a form of kind of humbling all of us, knowing that there is a higher power that kind of has established its position here and created us. And in our path to enlightenment, you seem to find some very intelligent people go right back to faith again. And, I think it's an interesting time. I just kind of keep trying to teach my kids what I believe, and hopefully it sticks with them. And if they ever find themselves lost, I hope they circle back to their faith, that, that foundation and that, that there is a higher power that's guiding.
No, definitely. That was very well said, man. You're very articulate, and I can tell why you write books, man. You have a lot of good words. No, and I agree with that. I'm a servant of God as well, and I think that, like, that's definitely the crumbling of society. Is like, that's at least a basis of values. And, like, I don't see one example of somebody not having values and doing well. Like, mostly, like, the darkness in people is let them beat them. Like, they're like, oh, I guess I'm bad at everything forever because like I'm in a bad mood. It's like that's how it seems like to me. It's like I don't understand it, and I don't care to really. It's just like I just want to keep winning. And, like,
I just keep moving. I focus on my little circle, make sure my circle's good. Outside of that, it's out of my control. Let it go.
Yeah, it's all out of our control. Yeah, it's just like we're lucky to even be here. It's like it's definitely a weird time, and we probably had a lot of weird times. I just can't believe people listen to these people. It's like cancel culture is just crazy to me. It's like in the future, no one's gonna have a job. Like basically, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like your punishment. You can't work at Walmart, I guess, because you said something on the internet one time. You know, it's like it's just a weird fascism. It's like the most boring fascism I've ever seen in my life. It's like I thought America could take it over in a cooler way. You know, I'm against how boring this takeover is. You know.
That's funny. I never thought of it that way.
It's true. It's like an ideology thing. It's like a culture war, and we're losing it. You know?
Yeah, we're losing the information war, right? The information war, the power of the social media memes and information, right? It's kind of like why, you know, news can have different narratives, you know, and that's an information war. People soak in the information that they receive. It's almost like the immediate gratification information. And so, you know, headlines and titles is what they run with, and then they go share it and they say, "Oh my God, can you believe it?" And and in the end, they really didn't read any of the article, and they didn't really digest whether they felt it was real or not. Right? We lost the ability to deep dive into complex topics and try and make an opinion of it. Instead, we just run with the title and say, this is fact. And that's really what's hurting us. We're losing that war of information, right? When that Border Patrol agent, you know, had that so-called whipping, do you remember that whole incident? Yeah. Like people ran with the first narrative. The first narrative was like he was whipping them. And, you know, and that was like insane, because right away I already knew, like, when you ride a horse, you have the reins, and how he was managing the horse had nothing to do with whipping. But on social media, that took off like wildfire because people ran with the title and they believed it, because it's such an angry time and people are emotionally invested into immigration that they're looking for that demon. They're looking for that bad guy. And so when they see this picture and it looks from the angle a little odd, they first assume like, oh, he must be whipping him. And then boom, it gets all the way up to the president who starts kind of reprimanding him verbally. And you're like, wait a minute, hold up. How did it get this crazy? Like, how did it go so far where they put this guy who was doing his job apprehending illegal immigrants who are attempting to enter into this country? He was doing his job, and then now he's on, you know, administrative leave until they further investigate it. Like, it was just like, it was so bizarre. It's actually what inspired me to write the book. I sat there like, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy that one little title and one picture can be pulled out of context and used as a weapon to almost make a guy lose his job. Not even that, the whole horse patrol at that point in Del Rio was getting criticized and ridiculed for it. And it was just crazy. And so it really was the moment I said, I should write this book. I should actually try and educate people on exactly what the job is of a Border Patrol agent, because maybe at least that piece of the pie of information will be answered for those who are kind of confused or probably don't know enough, you know?
Yeah, that's a lot, man. Like a similar thing I can relate to is like that George Floyd thing. Like everybody like pretending like it was about racism. Like this guy dies, right? And then the guy who supposedly killed him is in jail, gets stabbed, and like the left like celebrates that. They're like, oh yeah, good thing he got stabbed. I'm like, I thought you cared about people. Like, you mean like the entire reason you pretend they're like, yeah, I burned down my entire town because I care about racism and I care about people and stuff. I'm like, this doesn't correlate at all. Like none of this makes any sense, and you seem like insane to people when you try to explain it to them. Like,
it was odd to me how you could celebrate that. Like, I don't know who would ever celebrate someone getting hurt in prison. Well, it's because they thought he was guilty for killing, you know, George Floyd. But wasn't there just proof that he died from an overdose and not the asphyxiation? And it was just, it's very weird, right? That just recently came out and no one cared, and even the judge is not even looking at it, right? Not thinking about turning over the case, which is just it's odd to me, because I think in our time now, there was never a time when this would be a thing where, you know, like people's emotions are swayed by narratives that are not true or assumed, right? Like, we used to be a place that would have facts, like, here's the case, here's the facts, let's investigate it, and here's their decision. But again, it was one of those things that was emotionally charged, and it was emotionally charged and pulled out of context heavily. You know, I was in law enforcement for years. You know, that knee to his back could be deemed as dangerous at times, but at the same time, that's one of the arrest techniques that are taught. You grab the wrist, put your knee across their back, and you start handcuffing. Now, obviously, the George Floyd was on drugs at the time, and you know, maybe, but that's a further investigation that had to be done. And when it was done, there's conflicts of information. And now all of a sudden, the original, autopsy showed that he died of an overdose. And so it's like, we're in a crazy time, man, where the facts doesn't matter. The facts doesn't matter. It's the emotions of the people and how we want to please people with decisions. And it gets scary. It gets scary that we're in a time like that where people are going to prison for things like that because of emotionally charged topics, but not facts. I just find it scary.
No, it makes no sense. It's terrifying. It's literally terrifying. I remember like arguing with people about that. I'm like, can anyone prove that George Floyd was killed for being black? Like, is there any evidence whatsoever that he was murdered because of his skin color? And like people were like flipping out, like trying to call me all these names and stuff. I'm like insulting me is not evidence. Like, is there any evidence like of this at all? And I'm just like, I get that there's racism. I'm not trying to deny that people aren't racist, but I'm like this. I just saw no evidence of it in that case whatsoever. I just saw zero evidence at all.
Yeah, and it's because that topic is a very emotional topic because a lot of the controversy on that cops are killing blacks. And so, rightfully so, if you feel that way about a topic, you have every right to be, you know what I mean? I'm not black, so I can't speak on that, but I know what it's like to be brown and get pulled over and get nervous as shit. You know what I mean? And I get it. But at the same time, I think everything is a case by case situation, and we have to really see it as a case by case. The idea that, cops are killing people, that's a scary thing to push. And when you start to do that, you demonize cops. It makes it dangerous for law enforcement as well, but it makes it dangerous for both sides of the party because now everyone's nervous. Like the cops are nervous, and the person who's getting pulled over is nervous, and it makes the whole thing. It's so different from when we were younger. When we were younger, like we all respected cops, and even if you didn't respect cops, I didn't feel threatened to the point of death until more recently. You start to like, man, is this a thing or not? And so that questionable conversation becomes emotionally driven, which becomes everything that happens in that same conversation, boom, is like a hot button topic. And so it's part of the social media issue. It's part of, the free information issue of like everyone has a voice and has an opinion. And it's also part of how Americans receive information and don't know how to decipher what's real and what's not.
Yeah. Some people just can't tell if they're being lied to. It seems like,
I'm just on that note, I have like hundreds of older women who are being conned by pictures of me by some dude. Like these guys in Africa are conning them using my picture. And I'm always like, how does this happen so often? It's because people still don't understand social media and they're very vulnerable on social media, and so they get conned into this. Some lady just the other day, she goes, "Oh my God, we were talking 4 years ago, and I didn't know you're married." I'm like, "Lady, I don't know who the hell you are, and it wasn't me for sure. It was someone using my picture on another profile. Obviously, you see my book coming out. They saw my face and they started tracking me down. They're like, "Oh, we were talking. You lied to me." I'm like, "No, lady, I don't know you." And no offense, but she was like 70 years old, right? And I'm like, "Lady, I promise you, it wasn't me." You know what I mean? But people are very vulnerable with social media. They don't realize that people can con them. They don't realize that people can just post something as like the Babylon Bee, right? It's like it's fake, but people share it sometimes thinking it's real because they get fooled, and it's like it's a really crazy time, man.
Yeah, it is a lot of divide in some culture. No, it's crazy. I think that's the best alibi to bang 70-year-olds though. You're just like. I'll just mess with you, bro.
My wife's gonna kill me.
Well, I'll buy a book just in case for that joke. I'll buy a book for every uncomfortable joke I have. So
thank you for the $7.
That's so funny, man. That's funny, dude. But no, it's hard to go back to serious stuff. But no, it's definitely a weird ride, man. And let's talk about TV shows. I guess that's something cool. People probably like. People love that stuff. And so what? Okay, I don't watch TV. I don't mean to be rude about it or anything, but I just don't. You'll have me. I will buy your audiobook before I'll ever watch TV, and I actually plan on buying your audiobook after you told me you read it. So and people watching, he actually reads his own audiobook, so I think that's cool. That's I think that's a good addition. But anyway, no, where was I going before that?
Movies, TV shows.
Yeah, your TV show. Yeah, okay. So what exactly? Okay, so that was like a spin-off of like Sons of Anarchy, basically.
Yeah, it's a spin-off of Sons of Anarchy. So if you watch Sons of Anarchy, or anyone who's listening, watch Sons of Anarchy.
I look like I do, but I don't. I look like
well, one of the rivals one of the rival, I guess, MCs was an MC called Mayans. And so essentially when that show ended, ours was picked up, and we are now the highlight is on us, and the enemy now is Sons of Anarchy and a couple others out there. So, we ran for 5 seasons, and it was incredible. It was beautiful. It was poetic. It was tragic. It was all those things. We had a blast, and I wish the show never ended, but all good things come to an end, and now it's time to go work on something new.
So you were on all 5 seasons?
Yeah.
That's bad. That's a real deal, bro. That's awesome, man.
I was there from the first take all the way to the last.
That's impressive, man. That's a long time. It's that's crazy. There's so much going on, man. There's so much content. Where can people find this? As on Apple or like?
Yeah, you can find it's on Hulu and FX. So if you have Hulu, you can find it there.
You're gonna have me watching now. I'm like, dude, I had this guy on my podcast one time.
No, bro. So if you're into faith-based films at all, I have another film called Lucy Shimmers and the Prince of Peace. It is a Christmas movie, and I promise you, it'll fuck you up. It is emotional. It is dope. On TikTok, I think it has something like 12 billion views of one of the clips of it. It's extremely viral. It goes viral like twice a year, it seems like. In right now during the time of Christmas, it's probably the biggest. So if you guys are listening right now, if you think you're man enough to not cry in a movie, go watch this movie, and I promise you, it's going to crush the whole family, and it'll become something that you guys watch every year. I promise.
What's it called again?
Lucy Shimmers and the Prince of Peace.
What's it on?
It's on Amazon. You can buy it on Amazon. I think you can buy it on Fubo too, or whatever the heck, Tubi.
Cool. Can I borrow $10?
Thank you for your $1. That's probably all I get from that.
No, that's cool. I'll check it out, man. Too. I like. My wife watches a lot of stuff. I watch some stuff with her sometimes. I'm more of like, I don't know, man. I like audiobooks a lot. Like, I tear through stuff while I work, man. So you're gonna have me reading that Borderline book. Like,
you'll like it.
What's the synopsis of that? More so, I didn't do any homework. What is I'm joking. I'm making fun of myself, but no. What's it more or less synopsis of that? Like, I'll definitely get it. But what was
of what?
Of your book? Like, what is like kind of a synopsis of it? Like,
genuinely, I just talk about my career and throughout from beginning to end of my career and the things that I've experienced as a Border Patrol agent, but sprinkled in throughout it is different reasons of why we do certain things in the immigration process, and explains the difference between immigration and Homeland Security. It explains kind of the career field head to toe, the actual job, nuts and bolts of what we do, but through my eyes. And so it's pretty cool, man. It's a fun book. A lot of guys who've done the career, they appreciated it, but as well as people who had questions, they've really enjoyed it. So I'm proud of it, man. I'm excited about it.
That's awesome. No, it sounds cool. Like, it's like, I think I talked to you about a week ago, so I didn't have time to listen to it yet, but I want to definitely. Like, it seemed cool. And I like seeing success, man. I like seeing people like actually, how many people I know that want to write a book or do something. I just like seeing like people do it, man. It's like,
it ain't easy. It ain't easy, but now that I got it figured out, I plan to knock out a lot more.
I can't even read, so I'm just like, I'm impressed. You might write a book. It's like, I'm from Missouri. They don't even teach us words here. So it's like, it's okay. It's a. But no, I think so. Is this your first book then?
No, I've written a few.
Okay.
But
what's some name drop some other ones for like what we got here?
My Light the Fuse. I don't know if I have it.
Is your bookshelf just covered in books you wrote?
Books I've read, books I wrote.
I like that.
One's called Light the Fuse that you can find on Amazon. That's about my transition out of the military, but it talks about like my transition in life and understanding and breaking down like perspectives of transitioning so it can make it easier for people. I wrote one called Sugar Man, which is a fiction, kind of a short novel. And then I wrote 2 kids books, one called My Dad. I don't even know what the hell, My Military Dad Does the Craziest Things, I think it's called. What the hell is it?
Do you ever sleep? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there you go. My dad has the most important job in the world.
That's awesome.
And then my military dad does things a little different.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I forget I even have those, but yeah. And then and then this book is like the most serious book I wrote, and it made me step out of my comfort zone. And
yeah, I was interested in that. That's why I reached out originally, is that book looked awesome, man. I was like, I definitely want to check it out. Like, your obituary is gonna be long as fuck, man. They're just gonna be like 30 years. Everyone's like, can we?
I don't want to. It'll say Vincent Vargas. He came, he saw, he left. Just done. Call it a day.
I feel it's gonna be a lot longer than that, bro. After how many books you've written, TV shows, all that stuff, it's gonna be like the longest obituary of all time.
Pretty much had ADD. That's all it is, dude.
Oh, it's awesome. I love seeing it, man. I love seeing dreams come true and stuff. And do you want to throw out any more links before we get out here? So I usually try to.
Oh man, it's too easy, dude. You know, you go check out the book again. I'll show you again. The book, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on. You can get it at Barnes and Noble. You can get an audio book where I read it myself, so you'll enjoy that. You guys can check out my podcast called Vinny Roc Podcast. It's on YouTube mainly, but it's everywhere you can get podcasts. But on top of that, we're just out here doing our thing. If you guys are men and kind of looking for kind of a group to help with the mental health side of things, I do a lot of that. So you can message me on any social media platform. If you're a veteran and looking for kind of a community, hit me up. I'm all about serving the people, man. So if you guys have any questions or anything, just hit me up on social media. Vincent Rocco Vargas, everywhere you look.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for going backwards in your career and being here. I appreciate you calling on it. I'm definitely going to check out your book. I'll hit you up after I actually read it so I know what I'm talking about,
Yeah, dude, for sure.
Definitely, man. I appreciate it. And if you're watching at home, thank you for being desperate enough to watch my show. I thought better of you. I thought you had better plans. I thought you had more to do than just watch us kind of creepily. It's like 400 people just watching us. It's kind of weird. It's weirding me out a little bit. So I'm gonna get out of here. I might be back tomorrow. Might be back Monday. We got Jim Brewer on Monday if you're watching. Jim Brewer's a big comedian. Cool.
Dope.
I'm gonna get out of here. This is getting awkward,
Yeah, bro. I'll hit you up later, Anthony. I appreciate you, bro.
Later on, man. Wish you continued success. Bye.